Hi, I used to call everything an experiment. My routines, my career, or even my hobbies. But experiments are like projects they're supposed to finish, but I kept living like I needed another final result. So I restart, reinvent, new system, new identity, new version of me, hoping one would review who I really was and finally click. But instead, I just find myself starting over on repeat. We all do this, don't we? Read the next self-help book, adopt a new fitness routine, going from Pilates to strength to weights to calisthenic, adopt a new diet, ketogenic, no sugar, adopt any next game changer, anything. When it fades, we blame discipline, timing, lack of motivation. And then at the end of it, we feel more like a failure than ever. But maybe that was never the problem. Maybe it's because we never chased a center. We never fully committed to a foundation. For example, I tried vlogging like Life of Riza when I first started YouTubing because I thought that was my way into vlogging and have a successful YouTube channel. But it didn't last. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy making those like short films. It really get my creative juice going and it make me step out of my comfort zone. So I enjoyed it. But my life is not a Netflix show where I set up the lights and film how I wake up in the morning from 3 different angles. Do I want to do it on repeat? Not really, Sometimes I really just like enjoying a moment. And vlogging is stressful. Is that how I want to live my life? So instead I changed my direction again, then I fall into more inconsistency, more uncertain than before. That's when I realized who I am is not a project. It's the foundation. It's my core. It's my non-negotiable. No amount of like new hobby, new routine, aesthetic can hand that to me. It has to come from within, and that will be how I show up. And what I really like is this sort of format, me being able to just speak and say what I think without really scripting and connecting with the right people. I'm not saying stop experimenting. In fact, I advocate tiny experiments in life. But experiment with interests, skills, way of living. Absolutely. That's how we find work we care about, people we belong with, and the parts of life we feel alive. But experiment should serve who we already decided to be, not to replace that decision entirely. Identity isn't something like a treasure hunt, like a hidden object where we seek. It should be something that we already chosen and then practice. And choosing is so much harder than experimenting because it requires ruthless honesty. Sometimes when we look within, we might not like what we find. But if we want to change, real change, we don't start it with starting another challenge, adopting a new routine. We start by making a commitment to who we want to become. I'll go first. I'm someone who chooses truth over hype. I'm someone who loves and respects her body and will treat it with care and a bit of tough love. And finally, I'm someone who will create even on ordinary days. Someone who will show up and listen without judgment. What about you? Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a good day. I hope to see you next time.